morning, everybody, or should I say hello, everyone?
Hello, how are you guys?
They said they're doing well. Welcome back to our channel, Blondes in Progress. My name is Asia.
My name's Elizabeth.
And we are so thankful that you are joining us today. For today's video, we are going to kind of start, I don't know if it would be a series, but it's definitely a topic that has many facets, and it's living on your own. I currently live with my boyfriend right now, but I've lived alone for like 3 or 4 years before this. And then, Elizabeth, how long have you been living by yourself?
Technically, I think like a year, but last year I technically had a roommate, but she moved in with her boyfriend after like 2 months.
Yeah, and then like quarantined, so she was like with him quarantining. Yeah, yes. So, we thought this would be a kind of interesting topic because I feel like it's something we all go through, but not a lot of people are like, hey, just so you know, prepare for these things. So there's a lot of things to talk about in the living on your own category, living alone. But today we're going to focus on cooking and meal planning for one person, which
So hard.
it is. It's very annoying because most of the time you look up recipes and it's like, yields 4 servings, and you're like, I just need 1. Or you're like, okay, so I'm going to eat this for the next 4 or 5 days. So,
Buying something at the store, buying like a normal size, and basically buying a bulk and buy right, or you're only cooking for yourself.
yes, it's like the regular grocery store is like your Costco, basically.
And if you make a meal, you have to really like it because you're eating it for. I still have leftovers from like 3 meals in my fridge right now.
Yeah, I love when we text and I'm like, what are you making for dinner? And you're like, I'm having leftovers for like the 3rd day in a row.
I'm starting to really not like this.
And so, I don't know. And then I also find the struggle with finding new things that you like, because I feel like when you're just with yourself, you don't have like pressure of somebody being like, hey, I'm getting tired of this, or, you know, maybe we could cook this. It's all on you. And
It's someone else going, I like this, can we make this? Or
yeah,
this.
it's all on you. So, do you want to talk about, because do you meal plan at all?
I try to plan out ahead of time what I'm gonna make. Like usually by like Thursday, I plan out like 3 recipes. Usually they have like similar ingredients that I want to make. I usually only end up making 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah.
I usually because I have an Instapot, so I try to do like a soup or something in the Instapot on Sunday, and then like especially if it's soup, I know it's gonna be good for lunches and things like that. So then I just put it in some Tupperware and put it in the fridge, and then I can heat it up for lunch.
Yeah.
Because for lunch, I love to do leftovers. I don't really want to have to cook at lunchtime, even though I'm working from home right now.
It's just that extra time.
For dinner, though, like sometimes I will go to like Costco with like my dad, and we'll get like the big thing of salmon or some other fish, and then he'll cut it up into individual fillets for me, and then vacuum seal it. So vacuum sealing is a great thing because then I can throw them all in my fridge, and at dinner I'll just like, well, one point in the week I'll just make a big thing of rice, and then like I'll cook up the salmon different ways, or whatever fish I have, or whatever like meat protein I'm doing for the day. And that's a way I can cook where like I don't have a ton of leftovers, but I'm still getting something different, and I look up different seasonings and ways to cook it. And I think at this point I've cooked fish almost every way possible. But it's one of those where like, because I have it vacuum sealed and it's like just like the perfect 1 portion size, I don't feel guilty that like, man, I open something, I gotta cook all of it, or I'm gonna be stuck eating this for days and days and days.
Yeah.
That's something I do. And then like, usually if I'm meal prepping type thing, it's like today, it's gonna be all like snack foods. Cause like, I like to have something that I can quickly grab and like eat like the whole meal from lunch or dinner, or I'm not a big breakfast person, so sometimes just to like munch on in the morning before lunch, or if I'm getting hungry but I don't want a full meal, or any of those times when you're hungry and you don't want a full meal but you want something. And I'm not a big sweets person, so I'm gonna cut up some carrots into carrot sticks, celery, I have radishes to cut up that I like to eat. And then like I'm gonna make buffalo cauliflower bites that I could heat up if I want like something little to eat. And I always have rice, like a portion of rice made, so I can always just put it on the side of whatever I'm eating. So I do things like that, or like I'll make like a energy protein bites, so that I can just, it's one of those things you can take one and eat it and you gain protein and all the good stuff, but you're also not having to make a full meal. And because when you're cooking for one, having to wash all the dishes and do all that, it can be just kind of tedious and time consuming. You're like, I don't want to do all this just for myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say the dishes.
Occasionally let yourself cook a really nice meal for yourself, because that's also a form of self-care, self-love.
Mm-hmm.
What you need to do.
Yeah, the dishes thing really resonates with me, because I would like be like, oh, I'm gonna make this fancy thing, and then it's like, why is it taking all of my dishes and now I have to do these? And then when you don't have a dishwasher, which I did not have a dishwasher last year, it was like, what do I really, how worth it is this meal? But yeah, I think the whole getting stuff, excuse me again. I know everybody, fresh, fruits, vegetables, meats, but freezer stuff is honestly a lifesaver when you're by yourself, because you don't feel like so much pressure to cook all, like if I had a whole, like right now I have a whole thing of chicken tenderloin in my fridge. Like if I hadn't eaten that yet, I'm just going to be cooking it, trying to get it before it runs out. So getting things like meat, vegetables that, aren't going to go bad, because I can't tell you how much food I've had to get rid of, and I feel so guilty because I couldn't eat it fast enough, because I'm like, I bought this whole big thing of kale. I can't cook it all at one time. And some...
Kale, spinach, lettuce, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's the hardest. Or like a salad.
It is, yes. And
like, I want nothing, have a salad. Oh my god, those things go bad so fast.
I know, and you can only eat like part of, half a bag, and then you go back the next day and it's disgusting. You're like, well, I was gonna make this, but now I can't. So do you want to talk about, well, you talked about some recipes, but some things that I love are just a quick chili, and then I'll make a big pot of that, and then I'll just portion it out for the rest of the week. And that's some, oh my gosh, finding things that you really could eat for every meal and just making those. And I like to, because you can kind of change it up. Like sometimes I make it pretty basic, and then sometimes I'll put like avocado and kind of make it more like taco-y, and then other times I'll just, have it plain. So having things that are like...
The key thing is, especially during like the winter season,
Mm-hmm.
when like colds, flus, being like sick when you don't want to cook because it's going to start to happen,
Yes.
is making soups ahead of time. Like, you can make some and put them in the freezer even.
Yeah.
Because when you don't feel good, the last thing you want to do is cook. And even getting delivery, you still have to go out and receive it. Like, for me, I have to go down a whole flight of stairs, walk out to the person. They never find the parking lot in my building. And I'm like walking out trying to find where they parked on the street. So it's like, it's a lot of work when you're sick. All you want to do really is just have someone bring you soup.
Yeah.
So the closest thing when you live alone is, if I can just pop it into the microwave for like 2 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then just take it and go sit wherever I want to sit to eat it, that is like the key thing. And like sometimes I try to make sure I always have some sort of soup in the fridge ready to go. And so the nice part about the Instapot is I can literally just throw everything in there, set it for like 10 minutes, and it's ready. And I can just divvy it up into all the different containers and eat what I need at that time.
Yeah, I'm so jealous of her Instapot. I need to get one of those. It seems like a magical gadget.
Oh my god, I use it once every weekend.
Yeah.
Like 2 months now.
So that's on my list of things to buy. But sometimes with living by yourself, you kind of have to be proactive, because, like I said, you can waste a ton of money throwing out food, and I definitely have done that. So like she said, just having stuff in the freezer that you can just pull out whenever, even if you just have to like bulk make it. I do want to say though, I'm notorious for bulk making soup, freezing it like I'm gonna have it for an emergency, and then I'll just have it every day that week because.
Another key is knowing how to rework like certain items like rice. If I don't eat it in time, I can make it into rice pudding. Bread, if it starts to get like really hard and crunchy,
croutons.
You can make bread pudding really easily, or croutons.
Yeah.
And bananas, if they start to go bad, you can make banana bread.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't, any of you have gone apple picking, you get a lot of apples, and you're like, what do I do with all this? I make an apple crisp. I'm gonna make an apple bread today. You can make applesauce. So it's like knowing how to use your recipe. Especially like produce in more than just
one way.
One way.
Yeah.
Like, the best way to save it, and like, or like find recipes for if something's about to go bad, or because usually you can use things, right? Unless they're like moldy or stuff.
Yeah.
You can find a way to use it, or before you have to throw it away.
Yeah, something that we've started doing, because we'll buy bread, and I don't eat a ton of sandwiches, but I've started making croutons, and it's so easy. Like, I was like, why haven't I done this before? And then something with my bananas, I'm notorious for buying bananas and then waiting till the last minute to eat them. Making, if you take the banana when it's really ripe and you freeze it, I put it in like a freezer-safe mason jar just because that's what I have. But then you can blend it up if you have like a food processor or kind of like a NutriBullet type thing. You can make like banana ice cream, and all you do is put bananas, like the frozen bananas, peanut butter. You can put like chocolate in there, whatever you want. And that's like a fun sweet treat. I'm more of a sweet person, so I have to have like sweet snacks on hand all the time. What?
For if like you go to the store and you know how they have like the bulk value pack of like chicken breasts or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You buy that and like you can't vacuum seal it. So one thing you can do is you can broil the chicken and like season it however you want, and then you can shred it ahead of time and then put that in the freezer for cooking later. I think that's where you can throw that into a soup or. Chicken tacos or something where you can season it later, but you've cooked it, and now you can just throw it in the freezer for when you want to use it for a different recipe.
Put it on some nachos. Thinking about that.
Nachos are my favorite go-to meal.
Yes. And about shredded chicken, this is like kind of random, but if you don't know this tip, if you cook chicken and you boil it and then you want to shred it, use your hand mixer and shred it. That is like something I started doing recently. Like, I feel like everybody knows to do this, but I didn't know that until recently. And it makes it so much better, because I'd always take like forks and stuff and try to shred it, and it just wouldn't be as good. So, pro tip for you. But, and then, yeah, do we have any more tips? I don't know. I feel like giving a...
Oh, if you get fancy cheese, know how much you're gonna eat. If you're by yourself and you're like, because otherwise you're just gonna waste it.
Oh my gosh.
Because I like brie cheese and like I'll eat it on crackers in the morning. So like I found that I think it was Wegmans I was at. They had it where you could buy it, but it was like little packets of just like the little wheels of it. So it was like the perfect little like portion for the morning. And but it was still all sealed. So then like if I took longer to eat it, it wouldn't go bad. But it's like, know yourself and like what you eat a lot of and like your timelines. Like don't be like, I'm gonna be healthier, so I'm gonna get like 20 apples.
Yeah.
When you haven't eaten an apple every day since you were a kid.
Yeah, be realistic with yourself. Also, don't go in the grocery store and think, I'm gonna buy all this stuff, I'm gonna eat it. Because I can't tell you how many times I bought something because I thought it was healthy and like I should eat it, and then I get it home and I'm like, I have no desire to touch that, like, at all. Like, why did I buy this? It's not appealing to me now that it's in my house.
Also, if you don't like cooking, because I don't really like cooking.
Like the process of it.
I like baking more.
Yeah.
But the one thing I hate most is chopping up stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, you gotta figure out what you're willing to spend a little more money on, and I'll spend a little extra to get the vegetables, especially like onions, like pre-chopped and diced, because I'm like, that saves me time. I'm just cooking for myself, so it's like, do I really want to spend this long just chopping vegetables to prep for the meal that I have to cook?
Yeah.
And for me, it's one of those where I went, yeah, no, I'd rather just spend spend like the extra dollar and get the pre-chopped
Yeah,
stuff.
or like the pre-chopped, like pre-cut up fruit and stuff like that.
Because sometimes it's just like, you don't want to buy a whole watermelon if you're by yourself. I love watermelon, so watermelon like cantaloupe, I'll just buy the whole thing because
Yeah.
as I'm chopping it up and getting it ready to eat for the week, there's none left by the time I'm done.
I've just eaten a whole watermelon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, if you want watermelon, but you're like, I don't want a whole watermelon, just get like the pre-chopped one.
Yeah. And I think that whenever I started buying groceries for myself, people were like, do not buy those kind of things that are pre-chopped. Like, it's either lazy or it's just too expensive. Like, just save the money. But sometimes it's actually worth it. And you're only buying food for one person, so I feel like you could spend what you want. I mean, you know, your budget.
For a whole family, yeah, it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to, how much you're gonna have to buy, it's cheaper. But for me, it's one of those where I'm like, if I just buy that, I can do this instead.
Mhm.
I'd rather spend my time doing that.
Yeah.
One of the, you're like, for me, it gets kind of close to the same price, just with how much I have to buy versus.
Yeah.
Like for some people, if they have to buy like 3 of them for the same price as like 3 onions, and they're like, yeah, no, not worth it.
I get a lot of produce from my family because my family, they do like gardening and things like that. And so for me, I don't spend like a ton of money on produce if it's like, I mean, in season. Like right now I have a ton of peppers. And I honestly cannot eat all of them at one time. So I think Sunday's a pretty good day. I mean, whatever kind of like your prep day for the week is, obviously. But on Sundays, that's a good day to just prep out things that you know you're going to use or not. Like I have a pepper and onion mix that I like to put in eggs, and I'll just chop those up and put it in a Ziploc bag. I have that from like months ago, which probably sounds terrible, but I have it for like emergencies. If I'm cooking and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need chopped onions, but I forgot to go to the store. So that's good. Like, do something that your future self will thank you for. I saw that quote from another teacher, and it applies to school, but it also applies to food, because I can't tell you how many times I've been like, wow, past Asia, thank you. I'm really hungry right now, and I want this, but I didn't know that I had it, so.
Especially if you want to like eat healthier.
Yeah.
One of the things that I think really helps is like if you get like the celery or carrots because they last a while.
Mm-hmm.
And if like you spend a Sunday and you chop them all up into like whether you want the sticks or whatever size you would want for the week. And when you have them in there, then it's one of those where like when the time comes and you're like, okay, I want a snack. When you look in there, you're like, well, this requires no work. You like grab like, so I'll just do it where like I open the container in the fridge, grab out like 2 celery sticks, close it, and go back and sit down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually, you know what? I want some more.
Yeah.
So you're like, you can like do a little test and. But
See.
sometimes with chips, I don't eat a lot of them.
Yeah.
So when I have to reseal the bag, I don't have like any of the bag clips.
Uh-huh.
So sometimes I'm like, man, now I gotta eat more.
Yeah.
That in a certain amount of time.
I've seen this gadget. Have you seen the little bag resealers? You can get them on Amazon, but I've seen a ton of those.
Wow.
They're like just these, and I think they're less than $10, but it'll reseal your chip bags and stuff for
You
you.
know how many hair ties I've lost to sealing of chip bags? I don't have anything except for the hair tie that's on my wrist right now, so I'm like, okay, well, that'll just have to be good.
I mean, make do. Make it work. Whatever. But yeah, so I think, like I said, I don't know. I think we've given them pretty good tips, pretty good experience. You want to wrap it up?
Yep.
All right. So, we hope you guys liked this episode. It's kind of an obscure topic, but honestly, most people are going to live alone at some point in their life. I mean, I don't know your life.
It's a very important thing to do at some point. You really get to figure out who you are as
Yes.
a person without all the outside influences. Where,
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're having to pick TV on your own or pick
Yeah.
what movie to watch it on
Mhm.
a Friday.
And having to...
Giving me their opinion on what they want to watch.
Yeah.
Or read or
And I'm shocked I was able to live on my own for like 3 years because I'm the biggest weenie when it comes to like getting scared and stuff. And but if I can do it, you can do it. And it's kind of like you don't know what it's going to be like until it happens to you. So hopefully, you know, our experience can help you in some way. But we thank you so much for watching this video, tuning in. Oh, I was going to say, our new upload schedule is now weekends because the weeks are just getting away from us, me in particular. But, so if you're watching this, we appreciate you. We love you. We hope you have a good week. And we'll talk to you next time.